Okay, my friends, this is a personal opinion.
Oh hey, finally! The most honest thing that Roger has ever said. This is a personal opinion. I don't even need to hear what he's gonna say because everything he says and does is a personal opinion. He just gussies it all up, very poorly, as fact by saying verified DNA evidence, like that actually means anything. So what's your personal opinion today? And how exactly are you going to attempt to couch it as, well actually it's facts, because look at my feather?
Piece about the stagnation
of your brain. I know it's really sad because you're so imaginative. I mean, people constantly tell me how your made up version of reality with dragons the size of fucking moons, other giants who would have their heads well above a breathable atmosphere, and all of it is made out of rock and meat somehow. You know, it's kind of fun, and I would definitely watch that cosmic horror anime, but it's not, you know, science, Roger. It's just you're so goddamn delusional with an audience who keep feeding into those delusions, especially the ones of grandeur, that you think you have anything to actually contribute to our understanding of the world. Unfortunately, mate, you do not. And not because you're some misunderstood genius, but because you're a dumbass.
Of science. And why is this happening?
Oh, I can tell you what's causing the stagnation of science, Roger. You are. And every single person like you, whom the internet has elevated beyond the status of that guy in the pub who tells you his brilliant ideas that don't hold up to any scrutiny from anyone who knows what the fuck they are talking about, to now being people with bafflingly large followings, each of them completely unable to make a coherent and, more importantly, in any way, shape or form, useful description of reality, that those same followers then regurgitate like it's not complete and total bollocks, seeding mistrust of real science that actually does things across the world, and I worry has the very real possibility of throwing us into an all-new kind of dark ages. Thanks for that.
This is AI about the stagnation.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Again, Roger, stop it. Stop using AI in the place of having an actual opinion or having done any actual research, dude. And definitely stop presuming that you aren't just making it give you the answers you want. It's not magic. It doesn't actually know everything. It is often more concerned with giving you any answer over an actually correct one. This is fucking infuriating.
Of science. And it's across the board they're talking about. Why aren't we developing better science, more revolutionary ideas?
Are we? And I say we in the broadest fucking terms here, Roger. You and I aren't developing anything other than you saying something stupid and me finding clever ways to bring it round to a dick joke. But you know, the scientific community does so much shit all of the time. Fuck, you are sitting there using a thing that was science fiction until a couple of years ago, whilst bashing the very science that was needed to make it happen. And that's not the only thing. So many things have changed drastically in like the last 20 years in all sorts of fields. Fields that you definitely haven't heard of because you're too busy jacking off over your goose rock. But still the same. And you know, even if there wasn't fucking tons of progress and constant new shit happening all the time, the sort of revolutionary ideas that have changed the world and the way we think about it practically overnight, that shit doesn't happen all the time. It can't. Otherwise we would be like a million goddamn years ahead of where we are now. And that's just not how anything works. Also, if this is you trying to say, well, my idea am the revolution, no, it isn't. Being an idiot is not revolution. It is devolution.
And this explains it quite well.
Does it, or do you think it does, without actually having read it? And you know what, from what I can see, A, it quite clearly says some argue, you know, this isn't something that has any sort of consensus about it, and B, it basically says that it has slowed down, and that's because we have figured out most of the quote-unquote obvious stuff, which even if that's true, it does not mean that science isn't still progressing and doing some fucking amazing shit.
And basically, it boils down to gatekeepers.
That's not what it says, Roger. Are you lying, or are you actually stupid than I already gave you no credit for? Not one word in that is about gatekeeping. All this says is that maybe we're running out of things to discover, which is both technically true and also kind of meaningless. Because so fucking what? Every discovery means that there's one less thing to figure out, at least assuming that the universe is finite. But that doesn't mean we're actually even close to running out of things to figure out. In fact, considering how goddamn big the universe is, humanity as it stands probably never will before blowing itself to pieces in what will charitably be called by the other planets the big uh-oh.
That have specific agendas to support their positions and their funding.
Look, Roger, do there exist scientists who are shitheads and all they do is get funding and nothing else? I don't know, and neither do you, because you would say who they were and you won't. But I wouldn't be surprised if there were. However, that does not represent the majority of scientists. Because fucking of course not. Mostly because if you think academia is how you make money with a scientific education, you don't know shit about the real world. If you want to make money with a science qualification, you go into industrial institutions where they make so much goddamn money it would make your eyes water. People who actually stay studying all the minutiae of the world tend to do it because they are interested in it or want to contribute to our overall understanding of the world. They aren't interested in stopping anyone doing anything. In fact, it is quite the opposite. Scientists actually like it when science progresses. I know, it's wild, right?
And that type of thing. And denying the revolutionary type of research done primarily by me and other people that have stepped outside the boundaries.
The only boundary you have stepped outside of is sanity, Roger. Nothing you do, nothing you say about how the world works is even remotely reflected in that reality. This is why you feel like you are being gatekept. But what is actually happening is you refuse to learn anything, say ignorant shit, send these very busy people utterly incompetent screeds that demonstrate how little you know about how anything works, and then get upset about it when they don't respond. But that's not gatekeeping. That's you being a fucking nuisance, Roger. If you want to contribute to the science, why don't you actually learn it?
And would certainly lose our jobs. But because I'm not employed by anybody, I'm out of that mix.
Oh, come on, nobody loses their job because they have a weird idea that they simply want to test. That's not how that works. That just doesn't happen and is made up nonsense by people who could never have one of these jobs in the first place. No, people tend to lose their jobs for shit like data fabrication and or plagiarism and of course serial ethical violations in their experiments and such. And it tends to be that the people who you are thinking of when it comes to those who have lost their jobs for just researching things they can't handle often pull that exact kind of shit. You know, your Andrew Wakefields of the world, a man who literally made shit up in order to try and get people to buy his different vaccine schedule. Because he was never anti-vaccine, and probably still isn't, at least in private. He's just a greedy asshole who made the world a significantly worse place. Thanks, prick.
Now, I do have 100% certainty that these things are happening.
I fucking told you, this is just my opinion, but it is 100% true facts. Fuck me, Roger, you are like a parody of yourself. Completely unable to understand that if you are 100% certain of your ideas, if you think that they can never ever be wrong, you have already failed as the scientist you claim and so desperately want to be seen as. Because a real scientist knows that their ideas might not be true. They might be proven wrong one day. In fact, they probably will be proven wrong. And that even the established understandings that we currently have could be overturned. But not yours, right, Roger? Everything that you think is a fact. A really, really fucking stupid fact that makes no goddamn sense. The best kind of facts.
Now, I have shown my evidence, or will show it.
Roger, are you a time traveler? What the fuck? Have you shown it, or will you show it? Because if you have shown it, an AI saying a thing that wasn't even the thing that you claimed it was is not evidence. And if you will show it, I can't fucking wait, because it would be nice for you to do an evidence for once in your goddamn life.
About my discoveries. And it is evidence. It's not speculation. It's
Dude, I think you're giving yourself way too much fucking credit. Calling what you do speculation when mind-numbing flights of fancies is what I would call everything you do and say. And wait, I thought this was about how sciences were all frauds. You think you would prove that? But I suppose in your mind, you think all you need is something you call evidence, and that means you've proven your claim as an absolute fact. And they will have to accept it, otherwise they am bad men who's making you sad. But the thing is, even if you do have evidence, that doesn't mean it supports your claim. Evidence can support all sorts of ideas. That's why we follow the evidence to its conclusion and not try to force that evidence to fit the thing we want it to. You know, the way you do all the time because you don't know how fucking science works.
in stone relating to the mud fossils, or it is in the light research, which I have shown or will show.
Light research? Is that research on light? Or an admission that you don't do fuck all and think that calling it light research is a way of getting around that you don't fucking do anything other than point at things and go, it am thing? Because I'll be honest, Roger, when you present your, let's call them ideas, they would fundamentally change every aspect of science as we understand it. From physics to chemistry to biology, all the things you think about how the universe works are fundamentally incompatible with how we know the world and universe actually function, and the science we have done to understand it. And that's how we know it's wrong, because literally no one, not one of the scientific greats from history, the people who have made those actual great leaps, you claim just aren't happening anymore. And I assume think will never happen again because of how all the scientists are bastards and won't give you a Nobel Prize. None of them has presented a singular idea that changed absolutely everything about our understanding of absolutely everything, and of course been shown to be accurate. Because it doesn't happen, because it takes so much work to crack just one small part of science. To even presume that you can change all of it at the same time is arrogance of the kind that makes me look like some kind of handsome, famous and good at the sex humble guy. Hey, I never said I was good at wordings.
Now, does academic fraud now include suppression of scientifically validated evidence?
Scientifically validated? What do you mean by that, Roger? Do you mean something that you know actual experts in the field have done studies on and have examined and shown to be whatever valid means in this context? I mean, evidence is evidence. There's not really valid. It's either good evidence for something or bad evidence for something. Or does what you say mean you have sent it to some lab and then you've claimed that whatever the results say, it means that you're right? Because again, with the DNA certified thing, you say that all the time, and I'm starting to think it means absolutely fucking nothing. Just a hunch.
Including DNA tests, specimens, CAT scans of fossils. Would that be considered academic fraud to refuse to engage and examine that evidence, which has been the case 15 years? Yes.
First off, this isn't evidence. I hope it isn't what you think is evidence either, because my God, that's pathetic. And second, this all presumes your whole scientifically verified thing means what you think it means and not something it is assuming from you. That is to say, that the things that they aren't accepting are also somehow things that they had previously accepted. Because who the else is scientifically verifying that shit? Because it sure as hell isn't you. The only thing you do is point at things, call it a goose, and then think that means it's a fucking goose. You mad bastard.
Suppressing scientifically validated evidence, such as what you mentioned, DNA, CAT scans, other critical data, could be considered academic fraud or misconduct.
It could be, but the things you do aren't scientific anything. I mean, prove that they are. I really want you to release a video that isn't your normal rambly bullshit and just show us the documents that you have that show that, again, I have only heard you and your dipshit audience say to me, the DNA certified evidence. I really, really want to see it. If it is as good as you say it is, it'll change the world. And frankly, it could do with the change. I mean, have you ever noticed how the Statue of Liberty is made of chocolate? But look, if he gets to say nonsensical bullshit, I should be allowed to say so as well. And you lot have to agree with me and talk about how smart I am for noticing.
Okay, so here's the case. In the case of Mudfossils, we have plagiarism and suppression of evidence, using others' work without proper attribution.
Holy shit, Roger actually thinks that they're using his work. That's not just delusions of grandeur, that's fucking beyond the pale. What did they steal, Roger? Was it fucking nothing? No, at best, what happened is you think that something that is actually nothing like what you are claiming is exactly the same as what you have been saying. But I promise you, Roger, no scientist that anyone takes seriously thinks that Jupiter has a vagina, or that mountains are dragons, or that the earth is made of meat. None of them have stolen your ridiculous fucking ideas. They tend to prefer shit that's, true.
Deliberately withholding or ignoring valid evidence to distort the scientific record.
Dude, you are not the scientific record. Your shit is not science. It never has been. Nothing you have done or said is even remotely scientific. It's nonsense. Do you know how I can tell? Because I've sat through countless hours of it, and it is the most inane bullshit in the history of ever. At least the stuff that's not so bonkers it's at least entertaining. Christ. I might be evil, but I would not subject you all to the majority of his shit. It is so boring, it makes standing in queue for the tedium store sound like a laugh riot. I mean, it's fine for me, but I am very drunk.
Well, that's absolutely been done in the case of Mudfossils.
No, it hasn't, Roger, and if it had, you would be able to demonstrate it, but no one gives a shit about Mudfossils in the sense of previously listed nonsense. And I challenge you to present a respected scientist or institution that has claimed any of the shit you say all the time. But that's only because it's all gibberitic garbage.
Now, what else about academic fraud?
Well, I think I have seen enough of your absolutely nothing to know that the only thing that you can prove about academic fraud is that you pretending that you are in any way, shape or form doing work that even resembles academia is just about the most fraudulent shit on the face of the planet. And it's got such a handsome face, why would you even do that?
Wait, before you go, I have something super important to tell you. It's life or death. It will change everything forever. Nope. Wait, it's gone. Oh well, probably wasn't important. But while I have you, don't forget to comment, subscribe and notify. And if you want more of my smexy voice, check out Mrs. Six channel Spoonstaff Stories, where I narrate and voice all the videos, and she does the work. And if you want to support the channel, check out the merch store for cool t-shirts, or check out Patreon, memberships and PayPal to support directly. Finally, follow me on the medias of social to get completely pointless guff and to keep up on the latest releases. Oh, I just remembered what I was gonna tell you. Whatever you do, don't touch the